And primarily, my whole career has been in commercial finance, but primarily in business development. So everything that entails sales and marketing. And so when I was putting this outline together, the biggest challenge was really being able to keep it short, so I don't necessarily give you a lot of information and confuse you. But thank you for attending. And I would like to see if we can get introductions going. I know that we have Lucy and we have a 773 and we have Mimi. Is that possible? Can we get brief introductions?
You want me to go first?
Go right ahead.
Okay, so I'm Shamika. I'm the founder and creator of the NOSA Group. And I've been a NOSA going into my 4th year, I think, 4, sounds right, 3-4 years. And essentially I created the group to kind of have a platform for nurses and healthcare professionals to share their experience, ask questions, get more information about, you know, becoming a healthcare staffing agency owner and what that looks like. So you guys joined because you're part of the group as well. So you already know quite a bit about me. So I'm gonna let the next person go.
Okay. Mimi, are you next?
Hi, I'm Mimi. I joined the NOSA Group, I want to say probably a few months ago. I'm from New Jersey. I'm closer to the Philadelphia area, so that's South New Jersey. I'm in a process of I'm waiting for my licensure from the state of New Jersey. I'm excited about this opportunity and meeting Shamika and Amanda. I met Amanda before, but first time talking to Shamika. So I'm excited to be on this call and meeting everybody.
Wonderful, thank you. Thanks for that intro. Lucy, you want to go next?
Yes, hi, it's Lucy. And I did join the NOSA group a couple months ago, and we've spoken with Shanika a couple times. And this is my first session with you, but I know you had done another presentation in the NOSA group. But anyhow, I'm still in the process of setting up my staffing agency. I'm in Dallas, Texas. And I've started, but it's kind of struggle just trying to get everything together. But but anyhow, I'm excited about this opportunity and, you know, to get more information and to deal with all the other, you know, supporting each other with all the other NOSA group members. And I really appreciate being here.
Thank you, Lucy. Nice meeting you as well.
Likewise, thank you.
And so I think I always ruin her name, but is it Tiana? Hi, I think you're muted.
Yes, hi, sorry. How are you?
I'm doing good, good to see you again.
Yeah, I don't know why it was coming up 773 for whatever reason. But yes, my name is Tiana. I've started my own healthcare staffing agency called Nurse Now. I'm in Ohio. Sorry, okay. I came outside because they were being loud. Now they're loud.
It happened.
It's loud everywhere. But yeah, I saw this research, the marketing and whatnot. So I just got on here because I wanted to learn more about it and how to do it. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know that Tina and Amber have joined. If we want to take just a couple more minutes for those 2 introductions, that would be great. And then we'll get started with the actual outline that I have. And Amber, if you want to go ahead and go. Or Tina.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Tina Stevenson from Brandon, Mississippi. I just recently began a new nursing staffing agency in October of 2020. So I'm in the process of getting everything together with policies, procedures, and SAM numbers and different things like that. And it's definitely a pleasure and an honor to be a part of you all's group and a privilege to be with you all during this Zoom meeting today. So thank you for the invitation. I am most appreciative.
Thank you, Tina. Thanks for the introduction. And Amber, if you would like to go next before we get started.
My name's Amber. I'm out of South Carolina. We're currently growing our healthcare staffing agency. I'm kind of lost a little bit. I just jumped in on the meeting last minute. Someone sent me an invite, so I'll kind of just listen in.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us, and thanks to all of you for making a brief introduction. So this is one of the number one things in sales is having the comfort level to actually speak and introduce yourself and represent your company. So get used to it. But in today's topic, we're going to focus basically covering sales and marketing more at a high level. And for me, it was a little bit of a challenge to put this outline together because my whole career in commercial finance has been specifically in business development. So before everyone started to join in, I was telling Shamika that, you know, it was one of those things where like my body just felt happy because I'm like, okay, this is my zone, right? And so thank you so much for joining. But the first thing that I would like to tell you is that there are two main differences between sales and marketing, and people typically will confuse both. When it comes to sales, basically, sales is working directly with the future customer or a prospective client and working through the sales process of converting or acquiring the client. While marketing is more so about brand positioning. So, you know, sparking that interest for the service or the product that you're selling. A perfect example, one of the best marketing companies out there, it's Starbucks. When we think about coffee, it doesn't matter if you are at a gas station, there's always Starbucks, always. And that is the perfect example of brand positioning and everything that entails with marketing. But those are two main differences. But do not forget that marketing attracts and sales converts, and they're always working together. So you can't have a good sales strategy without a really good sales marketing strategy, always working together. And so if nothing else, marketing attracts, sales converts. That's where you bring the client. And so a lot of the points that I'm going to cover under the sales section, they're a little bit similar to the marketing side, but I'm going to try to really just focus on making the difference between both areas of the business. And so when it comes to sales, which is the first section that we're going to cover, is aligning a solution to customer needs. If you have a service, if you have a product that is not needed or is not solving an issue, you have no business. And this is a little bit of what we covered in the last session 2 weeks ago, is really understanding what are you solving? What are you bringing to the table? So understanding clearly if your service is going to solve a problem or problems for your target market. And if you do know that there is something that you're going to be solving, for example, earlier this morning, we posted an article, my business partner, Josh Good, about the shortage in the industry. And that article was posted this morning. If you believe that you are able to go and attract talent and fulfill a very good service through staffing with a facility, you are solving a problem, because guess what? There are about 10,000 baby boomers retiring on a daily basis. And so the need for healthcare providers, the need for nurses in all those facilities is higher than ever. And it will continue to increase as that number of baby boomers continues to increase on a daily basis, all of those that are retiring. So align a solution to your customer needs. In this case, all of you, I'm under the assumption that you're in staffing, healthcare staffing. There's definitely a high demand, but you need to be able to understand exactly how you're going to solve that problem. You can go and open up a healthcare industry, a staffing healthcare, but if you cannot attract talent or retain talent and train the talent, you might not be in business too long, because you're not solving a problem. You're not bringing the staff that is qualified to be able to fulfill the need of your potential customer. Did anyone see that article earlier that was posted?
Yes, I saw it. I didn't get a chance to read it though, but I did.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. And all of you know better than me, of course, that it is in high demand, but there's a shortage. It's the same thing that other industries like in transportation, they're experiencing. There's a shortage. So if you're really, really good about creating, building relationships with nurses and attracting them and retaining them, then you have something to sell because now you're aligning a solution to your customers' needs. The second point is, what is your unique selling proposition? And this is something that a lot of people, when I'm on the phone and I ask them what their USP is, which is unique selling proposition. So what is going to be the difference between Mimi's healthcare staffing agency and Tina's or Shamika's? You need to be able to really hone in and say, this is what makes me different. And a lot of the people that I usually speak with, they have no idea what that is. They're just saying, hey, I'm just a healthcare industry, healthcare staffing provider. And that's it. You need to really be able to hone in and say, what is it? Am I the best of the best in long term? And why is it? And how am I going to go and promote that? So when I'm speaking to a potential customer, I'm able to just speak to their pain points. The other thing will be your prospecting strategy. Are you the one doing sales? Are you going to have an inside sales team making cold calls? Are you going to have someone out on the field visiting with prospective clients? So Shamika, I'm going to ask you, when you started your company, did you have an inside sales team or was it outside sales team? Or was it you?
It was me. It was me. And I think also kind of what you were saying about your proposition, it was mostly me because we kind of tapped into we're nurses who understand long-term care. So it came best from me or my partner, my business partner at the time, so that they could put a name to a face. We understand ratios and staffing and the long-term care setting. So when we would hire people, that's kind of also the other selling point, is that we can, properly educate them on the type of facility, the expectations, where there wouldn't be, kind of that mix up that sometimes happens in healthcare staffing. Is you get somebody who's really interested, they get there, they don't like it, maybe because they had different expectations, and then they leave. So we did a lot of it. And we also had, a strong social media presence, which did a lot of it for us as well as we got on in the years we went.
Yeah, and here is one thing. I will tell you that for us, we don't have any outside sales people. Everything is inside. We do a lot of networking, not only here in Kansas City, but nationwide, such as the relationship that we have with the NOSA Group, where we're able to come and make a contribution with content or information or things like that. But you need to identify what will make the most sense for you. So if you want to stay regional and you say, okay, I'm in Philly, right? In Philadelphia, like I think it was Mimi, the one that said that she's in that area. So if you're there and there are maybe 40 different facilities that can potentially be your prospects, then it might be a good idea to have someone, either yourself or someone with the right set of skills, to go and start building those relationships. And there are several different things that you can do to go and build those relationships. A, you can go directly to those locations, or B, you can go and get involved in different organizations that they are at potentially. So for example, a facility director, they might be involved with the chamber, the local chamber, or they might be involved in a local healthcare group in the city. You want to go and start building relationships in those organizations or those different networking groups to get you in. And typically that's going to be a longer sell than you just kind of like hitting the phones. But if you have specific targets, specific places, then it will make sense for you to have an outside salesperson that is going to go and develop those relationships versus just having someone who is going to be making cold calls all day long and basically being told, no, we don't need you. Okay, so again, your prospecting strategy, is it inside or is it outside? And based on that, you're just based on your desired target market, you need to identify if it's going to be best to hire someone to do inside sales or outside sales. Here at PLEX Capital, we mainly do inside sales, but we do focus in building relationships throughout the community, because even though we do primarily healthcare staffing financing, we also look at some other industries once in a while. So it makes sense for us to get out and build those relationships. Okay, who is going to be the salesperson? So I'm sure that most of you have purchased a vehicle and you know the typical stereotype of a used car salesperson. And it shows right away. So whomever that salesperson is going to be, whomever your BDO, your business developer is going to be, make sure they have interpersonal skills. It's so critical because they will be representing your company. And the last thing that you want is for that individual that might have a used car sales personality to drag your company's brand, your name, to the ground because they were not respectful to a potential prospect client. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Shamika again, but Shamika, when you think of a good salesperson, what are some of the skill sets, interpersonal sales skill sets that you think about?
I would say a good salesperson listens, definitely listens more than they talk, is engaging and not necessarily solely focus on making the sale versus kind of getting to figure out what the needs of that particular facility or individual might be. They're patient and professional. So when you interact with them or you have conversations with them, you know, you feel impressed or you feel like they know what they're talking about. They can show you proof beyond the conversation if you're that type of person who wants to see proof. So that's what I look for.
No, for sure. So, you know, I hired so many salespeople throughout my career and at all levels, from the frontline salespeople to the BDOs and the executive team that was running the sales department for me or marketing team. And I will tell you that active listening is one of the #1 things. You do not want someone that is just going to go and puke everything that they have to offer without necessarily understanding the need, the pain points of that prospective client. So you need someone with active listening skills. They must be resilient and they must have that grit. Sales, let me just tell you, you get rejected. You just simply get rejected. And someone that is just going to get under the desk.
You want to buy smoke?
It's okay, go ahead.
It's
okay, go ahead. I'll just put on my mask because I have allergies too.
Gladys, go ahead and mute your phone, please.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so someone that has the resiliency and the grit, because you will get rejected. So if you're considering, you are as the owner, you're thinking, hey, I am the best person to do sales, fantastic. But the last thing that you want to do is just kind of give up because you're getting no after no after no. And really in sales is that 100th call that will probably say yes. So you must have that resiliency to pick up the phone or to go out, knock on the door again of that facility and try to get in front of the decision maker. The other thing is showing empathy. I mean, more so in this industry, healthcare, right? You got to be compassionate. You got to be able to show that emotional side. So make sure there's someone that has the empathy, someone that is going to prepare before every meeting, even if it's the same presentation over and over and over again. You got to make it look like it's a brand new experience because now you're dealing with someone else different versus the 99 people that said no to you. So be prepared, do your research, understand if you're targeting a specific facility, understand exactly what's the main challenge. How many people, if it's a retirement home, how many people are they bringing on board on a daily basis? What has been the biggest challenge? How many facilities, how many agencies have they gone through? Why have those relationships not worked out? And you need to be able to address them by being prepared and not just assuming that you're going to get all the information on that first phone call. So someone that can prepare themselves. The other thing is being self-motivated and competitive. Only God knows how competitive I am. When it comes to anything business development, I mean, I am competitive, as you can imagine. And my 7-year-old took after me on that. And it shows on the field when he's playing flag football. But you gotta be competitive. You can't just go in and assume that you're gonna take an order and be done. You gotta go and really fight for it in a very diplomatic and classy way, especially us women. We can't get like bulldogs or anything like that. We gotta stay diplomatic. We gotta have that class, that temper. We just gotta have it under control. The other thing, and there's 3 more things that I'm gonna cover during this section, but is someone that can establish the trust. I will tell you that 97% of every sales presentation that I do when someone is reaching out, I will not do it over the phone. I'm gonna do it through a video conference call. And the reason why is because you cannot establish much of a trust if you can't see the facial expressions of that other individual. Just as much as people that are reaching out to us as potential customers, they're doing their homework, we are also doing our homework. We wanna make sure that whomever we bring on board as a client is in alignment with the type of people we wanna work with, the right character, the right approach when they communicate, just being able to establish that relationship and that trust from the get-go, even before we start investing any time in onboarding the client. So make sure that you're able to build that trust with your customer immediately. Make sure you're asking the right questions. The answer that you will get will be directly correlated with the question you ask. If you ask poor questions, you're gonna get poor answers that are not gonna get you anywhere. Value your time and understand, how am I going to get the right answer so I can move the sale forward? And the other thing is, and I can attest for this, and anyone that has met me, I'm as authentic as possible. A good salesperson will be authentic. They're not gonna try to pretend to be something that they're not. And so make sure that that individual, being you or being someone that you hire, it's an authentic person. It's not necessarily a used car sales type of personality that, you know that it's just not trustworthy. So those are the things that I would suggest that you look at when you're considering hiring someone, or if you're considering doing sales, you individually, that you just look at that checklist and say, okay, like, am I going to have the ability to take rejection 99% of the time, right? And if the answer is no, you might as well get someone to come on board that is going to help you with that piece of it. And the nice thing about it is that right now, there's so many fractional salespeople that you can hire, and it's typically based on commission. So if you can come up with a really good commission plan, which we'll talk a little bit about that here in the following points, that might be the way to go, right? But make sure they have that skill set. Before I move on to the next bullet point that I have here, any questions about what we just covered, which would have been just the interpersonal skills of salespeople? Any questions? Don't be shy, people.
I do have a question in regards to needing to bring on someone else. If need be, how do you best go about vetting them though?
Okay, so it has to depend on, again, what's the strategy? Are you gonna have someone that is going to be inside sales or outside sales? Because there are a lot of things that, there are a lot of skill sets that are necessary for both types of positions, but an inside salesperson doesn't necessarily have to be, dressed up on a daily basis with, to the T, with that personality that is going to carry your brand. So it really depends on what you're going to be doing. If it's inside sales, outside sales, is it going to be a fractional sales representative, which again, right now, there's a lot of salespeople that are choosing to just work for multiple organizations and get paid based on commission. So if that's one approach, hey, fantastic. Is there a specific niche of sales representatives that focus in healthcare that maybe you can go and try to hire? And the other thing that we're going to be covering here in a little bit is, how do you compensate them? What's the right commission? What's the right salary? If it's a fractional one, typically it's going to be primarily based on commission, which I think that's fantastic. A very good salesperson will always, always ask for higher commissions versus a base salary. I will tell you that most of my career when I was in corporate America, I was not necessarily highly compensated with a base. I've been highly compensated with commission. What is the revenue that I'm making for the company? And then
can you say that again, Amanda, what you just said? Because I think some people miss that when you were saying about a great salesperson will operate based on commission.
Absolutely. A great salesperson, someone that is capable and believe in themselves, they're always going to choose higher commission versus higher base. Higher base is for typical operational employees that they just want to go check boxes. That's it. A really, really good salesperson, a good business developer will always say, you know what? I believe in myself and I can bring a lot more business. Don't cap me with a salary. Give me this amount of potential in actually, you know, earning commissions versus a salary. I personally, most of my career, when I was in corporate America, my compensation package was primarily, it was not necessarily the base, it was primarily commissions based on the revenue that I was bringing on for the company as the vice president of sales and marketing. So you need to be able to evaluate that individual and the confidence of that individual. If they say, hey, I'm looking for a higher base, maybe not the right person. You want someone that is going to be driven and they're going to go and again, have that resiliency and that grit to go get the business for you. But then you got to be able to compensate well when it comes to commission. Did I answer that question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Like I said, you can see the passion because it's just like, you know, I've been in it for so long and I love it. It's amazing. Business development is the best thing in any business. Not accounting. I can't do accounting. It's not my thing. All right. So the next, we're down to number 5, which is what is the sales process you will have? So a lot of people use Excel. We are in 2021. Okay. There's no reason for us to be using Excel to keep track of the people that we've contacted or their phone numbers or anything like that. I personally have been using Salesforce for years. Salesforce is basically a CRM system, a client relationship management system, similar to HubSpot, HUBSPOT. I will encourage you to check out HubSpot because this is a centralized place where you can pay, I don't know, $20, $30 maybe a month to have this online CRM system where you can keep track of all the sales activities, every person you've contacted, who is connected to that facility, when was the last time you spoke with them? Did they say, yes, I'm interested, but call me in a month? Did they say, no, don't ever call me back? This is a must for any business because you need to be able to know what activities is that salesperson doing. And if you're just going off an Excel spreadsheet, that's garbage. It's not going to tell you anything other than just keeping the name of the facility and the phone number. Make sure you're using a CRM system. HubSpot is perfect. It's probably the most affordable one, has tons and tons of resources for you to learn more about marketing, sales, email templates, advertising, everything you need, and it's affordable. You got to put a little bit more of time to actually develop a good understanding of how it works, but it's easy, it's simple to use. I cannot imagine being able to do what I do without Salesforce. I've been a Salesforce user for many, many years, and I've used the different variances, the different levels from the Cadillac model to the Kia model, right? So it's all there available. So if you have not adopted one, check them out, please. The other thing that is within the sales process is the sales funnel. Any of you have heard of the sales funnel? Shamika, what is it?
I didn't know you were gonna put me on the spot, Amanda. It's essentially I guess I would say it's the funnel that you use to get clients. So it's how you communicate, how you share information. I use mine primarily through social media. and that there's, you know, calendars and stuff that you can do, that you'll post at certain times, you'll post specific content to get people's attention, ask questions, to get them into the funnel to either have a phone call or do a sales presentation, to share information, to make them your client.
So that's a little bit more like a marketing funnel, but
okay.
a sales funnel will let you know where you're at with that prospective client. So you should be able to have different stages within your sales funnel. Once you have that initial contact, for example, I've had the opportunity to speak to a couple of the members that are attending right now to this meeting. When I first spoke with Sienna, okay, I had my initial contact. So that's gonna be my stage, right? I know that that was my initial contact. My qualification, did I qualify her? Is she someone that already has an LLC that is in the healthcare industry? Do I feel comfortable working with her? Do I have a solution for her company? Am I what she's looking for? Is she looking for a back office? Well, I can't offer that, right? But if she's looking for payroll funding, I can do that. If she's looking for introductions to Kamana or someone that does payroll, you know, things like that, I know that I can service her account and I can connect her with everyone else, but I will not be that one back office where she just presses the button and she gets started, right? It's not who I am. So do I have a solution? Have I presented to her? And what was my evaluation? Are we on the application stage? Are we on the agreement stage? Did we close that opportunity or did we win that opportunity? You know, and being able to move the whole process to conversion. That is a sales funnel. You're able to identify exactly how many people you have under initial contact, how many you have under application sent, application received, agreement reviewed, you know, denied. So you're able to identify each stage through that funnel.
Hey, Amanda, can you give an example of, because I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say that we would do as much sales funnels as marketing because we're not doing as much business to business. But can you give an example for like staffing agencies, how they may work that same example?
Yeah, so for example, for your type of business, your sales funnel is not going to be too much of a difference from PLEX Capital. You'll have initial contacts. So maybe the salesperson that you have has reached out to the local hospital, right? And started to have conversations with someone that might lead them to the decision maker, because sometimes you have a gatekeeper, right? So you got to work that gatekeeper and then try to get over to the actual decision maker so you can actually present. Then once you present, where are you at with that sales stage? Is there engagement? Is there a follow-up? Is there an agreement sent already? Or I'm sorry, negotiations and then agreement sent. When are they looking to staff? And so if you won that opportunity, now you've closed that deal, you won that deal, and it has become a client. So now it's out of the sales funnel because you converted it to an actual client, or in this case, your customer. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, perfect. All right, and we have 3 more points under sales. And again, for me, this is kind of like what I bleed, sales and marketing. So I'm gonna do my best to just rush through all of this so we actually have time to cover marketing as well. But number 6 would be, what does that compensation package look like? And we touched base a little bit based on the question that Shiana had earlier, as far as, you know, how do you qualify a salesperson? Well, a very good salesperson will always choose to have a higher commission compensation plan versus a base salary. So what does that look like? How are you going to compensate your sales team, if you have a sales team or if you have an individual? I will tell you that salespeople are very type A personality, and they want that fast gratification. So you got to come up with something that keeps the cow hungry, as we say it in sales. So something where you can continue to say, okay, they'll never be satisfied, but they they want more, you know, like they're gonna go, if I pay them $10,000 on this contract, it's not gonna be like, okay, I'm done and I'm just gonna sit back and not look for new opportunities. You want something that is going to continue to push them to go and get more business for you. And so we use the analogy of keeping the cow hungry in sales, because you always want to make sure that you're feeding the cow. You're like, you want to give them a lot, but you want to keep them hungry enough to say, okay, go get us more business. And that is a compensation package for salespeople. I have a lot of experience, and I'll be more than happy to have a one-on-one with anyone that wants to learn more about that, because I have tested a lot of different ones throughout my career. And we think that we finally concluded on what's the best method of compensating salespeople. Okay.
I had a quick question, Amanda, about the compensation. So of course, I kind of feel like you should do it yourself to some extent for a couple of different reasons. As far as the sales piece, one, if you're kind of using the idea of having a nurse-owned staffing agency, you know, that makes it specific to you as the individual. And then also, I get that people aren't as comfortable with it. So if you can hire somebody, you should. But because there's so many opportunities for you to have that conversation and network with people, I also feel like it's important to know how to do it yourself. You know, kind of have that skill set honed in, even if it's not what you do on your day-to-day basis. But as small business owners who don't really have a lot of income early on, are there some ways, you know, besides doing it yourself, that would attract a top tier salesperson to your agency if you decided to outsource some of it?
I would say look into, you know, nowadays, and I touched based on this earlier, nowadays you have fractional CEOs, fractional whatever. There are a lot of fractional business developers. I will tell you, the company that we use for all of our apparel that is branded, he's a fractional salesperson. The guy that I was introduced to start getting all of our gear and all our little, you know, branded pens and things like that. It was an introduction that someone that I met here at my office had made. And I thought I was dealing directly with the actual business, the actual company that we're going to be ordering our stuff from. This guy is a fractional salesperson that specifically goes in that niche, in that industry, and tells all of these businesses that sell gear or branded materials and says, hey, instead of hiring someone, let me go do all of the networking, let me bring you the business, and I'll get paid off commission only. Only what I sell, I'll get paid from. And so I am sure that there are fractional salespeople that can also do that for you. They will be the experts, and they will probably only require commission-based because they're fractional salespeople. So, you know, Shamika mentioned earlier, still learn it. Like, you need to be able to learn the basics of selling and marketing. You need to have a very good idea of how to represent your company as a business developer, but also take a look at fractional salespeople. It's no different than virtual assistants, right? Nowadays, a lot of people are using virtual assistants to support their business.
Okay, I've never heard of that. So that's good to know. I put it in the chat for those of you, if you wanted to Google it, like I'll be doing shortly. No, I haven't heard of that before, but that's great to know.
It is. I mean, it's the way to go. Just make sure that it's someone that, again, it's not going to be a used car salesperson that is just going to, you know, drag the name of your company to the ground. You know, someone that is going to represent you well. The other thing will be, so bullet point number 7 is sales goals. And I'm going to try to hurry here. I'm sorry. It's a lot of information, but sales goals. So what are the sales goals? Your sales goals should be in alignment to the overall goals of the company. How many clients do you want to have by the end of the year? How much revenue do you want to have by the end of the year? You know, understand that everything, even if you don't love numbers, that you need to get comfortable with numbers and being able to do reverse engineer on everything that you do. So if you say, Amanda, I want to have, you know, I want to make $150,000 net by the end of the year. Okay, well, how many contracts or how many hours and at what billable rate will that take? And so how many facilities am I going to actually have to bring on board? And then you're going to correlate all of that with the sales goals for your organization, regardless of who's doing the sales, if it's you or if it's a fractional salesperson or someone that you hire directly. And then the development for your sales department. So most of you are not necessarily going to have a sales team right away, especially in the early stages. But if you're a little bit more advanced in the process of building your staffing agency, you will probably have a sales team. So what does that development, ongoing development for your sales team look like? Running and managing a sales department, it's challenging, and you got to make sure that your people are top of the top with access to everything they need, because they're princesses. Good salespeople are princesses. They know their worth. Okay. So how are you going to continue to develop them? You know, when I was running the sales department of the corporate America job that I left, there was ongoing sales training on a daily basis. It didn't matter if you've been there for 5 or 6 years. On a daily basis, we had training, we had development, we had them interact with operations, with credit and underwriting. There was a lot of training, because when someone is interacting with your salesperson, they got to have the confidence that they know the answers. And when they give that answer, it has to be the right answer. It can't just be made up. And so building your sales team by continually developing them, make sure that that is something that you do continually every single day. And again, a good salesperson is going to be a princess. It doesn't matter if it's a 45-year-old man, muscular man, they're going to be princesses. They know their worth, and they want the best of the best, which includes also the development, that ongoing development from you as the owner of the company. Okay, questions so far? No questions? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to marketing. I know that we have about 13 more minutes, so I'm going to try to fly through the bullet points that I have here, and then we'll try to open up the floor for any questions. And of course, you can always reach out to me directly as well. I did put all my information in the chat as well. So earlier we discussed the difference between sales and marketing. Marketing is brand positioning. Think coffee, Starbucks, always. It doesn't matter if you are at the local gas station. Anyone that just thinks about coffee, they're going to think about Starbucks, generally speaking. So make sure that you're positioning your brand to attract people, that people, when they see your brand, they hear your name, they know exactly what it is that you do. That's marketing. That's brand positioning. Make sure there's consistency in your branding. You cannot have a different logo in your email signature and a different one in your business card and a different one on your polo. Like, there has to be consistency. Think about a Target. When you walk into a Target, it doesn't matter if you're walking in a Target in Philadelphia or Kansas City, is going to have the same flow of where things are, right? So consistency. The other thing with marketing is advertising. So think about how often your prospects are hearing from you and where are they hearing from you. You do not want to allocate marketing dollars for advertisement if your target market is never listening to the radio station, but you decide to put all of your money to advertise with your local radio station. So understand, where are they? What do they listen? What are they watching? Where do they spend most of the time? For example, facility directors, where would you typically find a facility director outside of the facility? What are they involved in? Are they involved with the local chambers, with SCORE, with the SBA, with the different business organizations in your city? Think about where they are, find them there, think about what they read, advertise what they read, advertise where they keep all of the information coming from. Do not go and advertise, again, on radio or other medias that they're not necessarily even reading or listening to. You need to identify, where are they listening and getting their information from, okay? So radio, TV, local publishers, associations, etc. That's where you want to advertise. Identify who your buying persona is. So if you're gonna try to make a connection with someone, you need to understand who they are. So who is your specific target market? You know, where do they find facility directors? What do they look like? What's typically their age? What's typically their experience? Do most of the facility directors, have they been in the industry for 20 years? Do they only have the business experience, or do they also have the healthcare experience? Understand who they are, what language they speak. And when I say language, I don't mean English. I just mean like, what are those little like lingo words that they use to communicate? Because if they're just a business person, well, they're going to be all about just making sure the price is right, that they're going to have the staff there. But if it's someone that has been in the healthcare, they've been a nurse, they understand that there's a lot more that people go through and it's a little bit more challenging. So go and identify who those personas are. Blogging, content creation. So in your industry, I don't know if there's much of a blog, but if there's a blogging page where you can go and blog for, you know, similar to the NOSA, right? If you want to find people that are starting businesses, you come here to the NOSA group because you're going to get all the information. Is there an association specifically for facility directors that they're getting all their information? Once again, is there like a blog? Is there a Facebook group? Is there, oh my God, what is the new Clubhouse, right? Clubhouse group. Think about that and then go and create the content. And the content, this doesn't necessarily have to be about just always selling your company, but you can create content to educate facility directors, to share successes of other facilities that have hired you, testimonials that have hired you, and, you know, just make them feel a little bit good about what you have to offer as far as the educational piece. No different than what I'm doing here. I'm getting my company exposed to a lot of new business owners so I can establish the trust, but I'm also giving information, educating people so they can take advantage of this and go in and build their business. Social media. I can't think of anyone that is not using social media right now. Shamika, what are your thoughts on social media?
Well, Amanda, I think social media is key. I really think I kind of touched on it. I don't know if all of you guys were in the last session, but I gave the example because, like, I can give the example of our agency, but it's always nicer to give what other people are doing. The example of Crucial Staffing, they are all over social media. I'm not sure if they have a team. Don't think they do because they're not a big agency. They're a company that no healthcare traveler knew about prior to the pandemic. And now if you just say their name, people already know who you're talking about, their colors, what types of jobs they have, just by saying their namesake. Them and Favorite Healthcare only solely post in so I think for the most part, Crucial did Instagram and then Favorite did Facebook, but they're actually one company in the same. A lot of people don't know that. And that's where you find the jobs. People probably don't even go to their websites anymore. They've done such a great job of doing it like that. And I tell NOSAs, you know, that whole social media curve, even for myself, was a bit of a challenge because I wasn't on Instagram pre-NOSA Group. But as you guys who follow me know, I'm on Instagram now. And a lot of this is just kind of spreading the word, you know, getting it out there to people that you're here, that this is a space, this is a community, it's something that you can do. And there's a lot of tools and resources out there that help you do it. So no, I don't post every day myself. That's way too labor intensive. But you will see content out there from me every day. And the place that most nurses look to find their jobs, and I think there was a poll in one of the groups, is social media. So the impact is huge. And you don't have to always start from like zero, like, oh, I don't have any followers. You can always piggyback on what someone else is doing. That's the great thing about social media. If Crucial does a post, which they do every day, and they get 10,000 comments, you comment too. You know, I think social media allows people to kind of do what we inherently do, is kind of peak. So people, if they see you post something, they're going to tap on your name and go to your page and see what you're about. That's all that you ultimately want early on. And then they're going to share your stories and all that other stuff. I definitely share stories from a lot of other NOSAs who have their jobs out there, just because the community that follows me isn't necessarily the community that follows you. So social media is the way to go. It's where we're going. If you're not on it, you're already behind. Yeah. And you just have to take the time and the commitment to get on it.
Absolutely. And watch your reputation, watch what you do as well on social media. So, you know, it's not just enough to have a social media presence, but to have a good presence as well. You know, a lot of people that are connected with me, they can see a little about my personal life, but it's nothing crazy. It's just, hey, here's a picture of Amanda and her son's graduation. That's it, right? People still want to see that human side, but I'm not posting pictures of Amanda, you know, going partying and crazy, or inappropriate pictures or things like that. So watch your reputation, your personal reputation, because it will be basically the same as your company's. Whatever you do as an individual, it will absolutely transfer over to your social media for your business social media. And I'm going to run through this really quick. The other thing will be SEO. If you're not familiar with it, please learn about it. So this is the search engine optimization. Most of you do have a website. Make sure you're using keywords. Make sure you understand Google Analytics. Don't necessarily have to go and study the whole thing. You can always hire someone later on as you continue to grow your business, but do understand what SEO means, which is search engine optimization. Make sure that as you're getting satisfied clients, that you ask them to go and review your company on Google, or give you testimonials that you can put real testimonials on your website. You know, for us, we are getting ready to release our new website here within the next few days. It's unbelievable how I reached out to our clients, and they all were willing to send us a testimonial and a picture of them. And it's just kind of neat, because those are real testimonials. We did not have to make up any client testimonials. Like, it was as easy as just reaching out to my clients. The other thing will be email marketing templates. So if you do consider getting like HubSpot or Salesforce, many of those CRM systems will give you the ability to create email marketing templates that you can just set to send out to your customers every month, maybe like a newsletter, or you know, exciting news every so often. So learn how to do that as well and take advantage of it. And then the other two things, the last two items that I will cover, is a marketing budget and also partnerships. Understand what your marketing budget is, and understand how you're going to allocate that budget in different various areas to advertise your business. If that is through Facebook ads, or the radio station, or joining local networking organizations where you can be introduced to facility directors, have a budget. So you understand exactly what is the cost of acquiring every client that you bring on board, or every facility in your case. And then don't underestimate partnerships. I personally have wonderful partnerships throughout here in Kansas City and nationwide, one of them being with NOSA Group, Kamana. We also have Natalie, who is like the insurance queen of the group, Debbie from Universal. Partnerships are fantastic, and they can help you snowball all of the opportunities, because you get familiar with someone that you can trust, and that you can also refer people to that need your service without you having to worry about, am I sending them to a good, reputable person, because you already know them. So develop those partnerships that can also bring you business, but it's not necessarily just a I take and take. I'm always thinking about how can I give to others and help them out so they can continue to grow their business as well. So partnerships that are mutually beneficial are a must that you need to be working on. It's right at 2 p.m. I apologize that I had to just fly through the marketing section, but I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. I think we can take a couple minutes, Shamika, maybe, if anyone has questions.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Ladies, what questions do you have? Do not be shy, especially if you're going to be doing sales. Let's go ahead and speak up.
I do have a question. Okay, so in regards to what Shamika said earlier about doing the sales yourself, wouldn't, and it's just a question, wouldn't it be better initially when you're starting to have someone who is a professional at it, who has more experience with it, just to make sure you are landing it, instead of you reaching out, you trying to obtain the client yourself, completely fumbling it? Not saying that you will or you won't, but I'm thinking about it. You fumbling it yourself and miss the client, versus if you actually have someone who this is their business. Not saying that someone who is a professional at sales or has experiences with sales absolutely obtains every client. No, but I'm just saying the plus of having someone who has that experience. Wouldn't it be better initially?
It depends on your budget. If you have allocated funds to hire someone, remember this, even if you hire someone, you still have to come up with the sales script, with the sales process. Who are we going to target? Are we regional? Are we out of state? Are we nationwide, all 50 states? You still need to come up with that script, that sales presentation, and you still need to get familiar with it. So it depends on your budget, and do not discount the fact that you still need to come up with the whole presentation, the whole package, so you can train the right person. A fractional salesperson might be able to help out as far as more of the technical side of the sales process, but they will still need to hear your presentation. They still need to hear you speak passionately about your business and why does any facility want to go do business with Shiona versus Lucy's or Amber's or Tina. So you still need to come up with that. I do encourage you to try it, because you need to get a taste of that rejection. Yeah, no, it does wonders. It makes you more resilient. It makes you refine your presentation to basically be able to hone into what are the benefits that I bring to those facilities that I'm targeting. Why me versus anyone else?
Okay. And I agree. I was going to piggyback a little bit on what Amanda said. So one, you have to practice it. And maybe I had the idea when you were asking the questions, Tiana, was that maybe Amanda will do like a pitch Zoom session so people can practice their pitch and get feedback, because you won't really be able to share with another person, like Amanda was saying, the passion and the drive, if you haven't had the experience of doing it yourself. And until you have the experience, you won't know that, like for instance, with me, sometimes I talk too fast. So I wouldn't have known that otherwise, because where I'm from, a lot of people talk kind of fast. If I hadn't had somebody give me feedback during a sales pitch, kind of like, Shamika, just slow down a little bit. We're not your thoughts in your head. You're just moving really fast. Or people who talk with their hands, which I also suffer from as well. Yeah. So you want that feedback so that people can really focus on what you're talking about. Because like those are like a little bit of distractors. And then it kind of helps you, if your sales pitch was really big, just hone it down to, I tell people you have about 5 minutes to have a conversation with an administrator or decision maker. So if you're pitching it or practicing it with someone and they're just like, still 10 minutes over, then you go back, you rewrite it, you tweak it, you add some stuff, you listen to other people's, you hit on some different points or you add some different points. And then it becomes your own, and it also becomes unique. So that's also why I push the concept of you doing it Siona, versus having another person, because you wanted to uniquely represent your organization and as well as make them understand what makes you different. So
Okay.
That is a great point. I'll give you an example. I think it was about a week ago or so, I received an inquiry from a NOSA member about wanting to learn about our payroll services and our funding services. And my assistant, she set up the appointment because again, I rarely do any phone calls. Like literally, I am always going to push for that first interaction with me to be on a video conference call. And if anyone gets on it and they don't want to turn on the camera, I'm like, I'm sorry, we can't, we just can't do this, right? But it was funny because I got on this video conference call with this gentleman and he's like, oh my God, like I've seen you on like the NOSA Group, but I was not expecting to actually speak with you. And that's amazing.
I'd rather have it too.
So, and so I say that because you are the face of the company and it doesn't matter how big you get. I've been part of large organizations, especially when I was in corporate America, where even though we had over 150 employees, we were we were a large commercial finance company. When they thought about the company, they thought about Amanda. Amanda has always been the face of the company. And so for someone to know that Siona is the face of the company, you might have salespeople, and I have many people in between the frontline employees and myself, but they always knew that that company was correlated to Amanda. And so you want that, but it starts because Amanda knew that Amanda had to put basically a unique selling proposition and go and show the passion as to why they needed to do business with that company or with PLEX Capital. You got to push that passion down to your salespeople or your BDOs, your whole organization.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
And one last thing, Siona. So if you guys have other questions, definitely jump in. When I've seen some people, and I'm saying this because I've seen people do it, reach out to Fiverr, which is a great resource, and some other platforms to get salespeople who are initially just making phone calls. And because they don't have the passion or have the understanding of the mission or the purpose, or they're not like your real genuine salespeople that are commission-based, so they feel like they're part of the company too, a lot of times they don't push as hard as you would, but you've actually paid them. So, you know, if you just want people to make phone calls to give you context, you know, that's something different. But if you want these people to actually get you leads that end in contracts or obtain contracts for you, that disconnect will always happen because people don't understand the industry. You know, they don't understand what the conversation should look like. And when you pay them hourly, even if it's like $7, you won't get the kind of results that you want from the standpoint of, I've just paid this person $500. I got one contract. You could have done that yourself. Right. In my opinion. So
for sure. And I think you're speaking about two things, which are the same things we're talking about. It's marketing and sales. Marketing, they're generating the leads for you. They're wheeling in the leads. Sales is converting. Sales will always convert. Do not confuse both. So if you want someone that is just going to be doing cold calls, you might as well hire a really good marketing company that is going to bring you all the leads through really good SEO, really good advertising and things like that, versus just paying someone that is going to be cold calling and like being half dead. Like, no, like you can just get a very good marketing agency to do all of that for you. And then as those leads come in, you're the salesperson. You're going to go and convert that deal because you have the passion, you have the solution, you understand your business better than anyone else.
Okay. Because I was wondering too, like with me, I've already been doing a lot of networking before, well, as I was coming up with the figuring out how the staffing agency development is supposed to go, I was doing networking that way. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I've already talked to some of these people. They're already calling me, asking me if I can work, do you actually still need to be kind of sales pitchy with them? Or, hey, I am now doing this. I can still service you, but now through my own company.
Absolutely. So the way that I would say that you can go about it as people are reaching out to you, you don't even hesitate. You say, absolutely. Let me go ahead and send you over our new proposal under my new company. Let's go ahead and sit together, go over it, and discuss when we need to place them. Don't hesitate. Anytime you're hesitating,
Okay.
you're not giving that facility any confidence in your business. Anyone calls you and says, hey, I am ready. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get it started. Let's go ahead and put it on the calendar, and I'm going to go ahead and call you and give you the quote. And then we're going to decide when we're going to have that first member be staff at your facility. Hesitation will kill the deal.
Okay.
You got to be confident. You got to be confident and just move forward. Assume the sale. You always assume the sale.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well,
hello guys. One last thing. I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Amanda, thank you so much for hosting this Zoom. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you as well, Ms. Shamika. I know due to the pandemic, so many things change as far as like sales and marketing. Now that things are slowly reopening, how would you recommend to go to the facilities and market your business?
Absolutely. So I would say one of the number one things that you need to look at, depending on where you're going to be staffing, is what are those places that the administrators or the facility directors are going to. If there's a specific facility that you really want to get in front of the decision maker, figure out what organizations are they involved in, okay? And then try to get in that way where you just make an introduction of who you are. You're not necessarily selling, but say, hey, yeah, I own a staffing agency and this is what I focus on, or this is my specialty. I would love to grab coffee with you one of these days. That's a good way of doing it instead of just kind of.
That's a great recommendation, but how do I find out where they go, what they do?
LinkedIn is a great place. A lot of these individuals have Okay, I think there's a lot of background with someone here.
I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I would say is LinkedIn is a great place for you to go. If you look at what they're following, if you look at what different organizations are involved in, you can also look at their social media to see if they volunteer at certain places. You know, a lot of the people that go to my social media, they know exactly what I'm involved in. They know that I'm a Rotarian. I get involved in everything that has to do with Rotary International at a local level. They know that I belong to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. They know that I work closely with minority chambers here in Kansas City. I mean, you can go and you would know exactly where to find Amanda if you really get into the business with me.
Beautiful, thank you.
And I would say too, love, is to, a lot of administrators are a part of the Administrators Association, Healthcare Professional Administrators. So if you see their profile and they're a part of those things, you want to be connected to those things as well, especially if you're in a state where they heavily regulate what happens from a facility standpoint of view. But you can find, LinkedIn is like really like the new age yellow pages, because you can find out so much information. And also, because this is why I also push LinkedIn like Amanda, is people can find you. So a lot of contracts have come to people because they had, you know, the person put in search looking for agency in Florida to help with staffing, for staffing agency in Florida. But if your profile isn't up there and you're not stating in your profile that you're a staffing agency in Florida, you won't come up under the person's search bar. But if your profile is, you're active, you're engaging, they'll find you quicker than you realize. And that's something that can happen at any point during the day, night, evening, weekends, whatever. And that kind of creates the bridge. And what you'll also find too is that a lot of times when you follow people on LinkedIn, they'll send you people that they know. So administrators know other administrators who know other administrators who know DONs, who, you know, it's always kind of that loop effect happening. So I think you're on LinkedIn, right, love? If you're not.
I am.
Okay.
No, I am.
Okay. Yeah, that's you have to really work it in the beginning, and then it becomes its own thing.
I haven't been active in it though, to be honest.
Love, I suggest you get it updated, put a professional picture. I see a lot of mistakes of people putting pictures with cleavage and all that.
Oh yeah, I do not have that problem.
You know, I mean, I've been told a sale is a sale, but I mean, let's not sell on LinkedIn like that, right? So
I used to work for City of Orlando before nursing, so I am as professional as they come. So I'm all about the professional look.
Perfect. Yeah. So I would say go get it updated and start kind of like creeping on different profiles. So the facilities that you want to get into and get familiar with LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
Definitely.
Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No,
I think we have a couple more questions, Amanda. Go ahead,
Amber.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's Amanda or Shanika, but I had asked previously in the NOSA group, is there any recommendations on people that can actually create my LinkedIn account for me? Like kind of what information, what verbiage needs to be on there?
So I'm sure there are a lot of people that if you just go to Google and find someone to help you, what I will suggest maybe instead of doing that, I would encourage you to reach out to your local SCORE mentor programs that are available. Like Tiona, I know you have one, and I mean, she's done amazing with her mentor. You know, if you can set up a Facebook account, but just keep it professional on the LinkedIn side, I think you're just going to do fine. A good way of doing it, Amber, is by looking at other competitors of yours that have a LinkedIn account and say, okay, what do they have? How does it read? And you don't necessarily want to go copy, but you want to use it as a template to basically go and create yours. I think, and I mean, you wouldn't be able to even consider going into business if you were not capable enough to go and recreate something like that. So I would encourage.
Right, I understand what you're saying. It's just like I don't know what pops out or what to say. That's the thing, and I'm just so busy. Like I don't. I know it sounds ugly. I don't have time to do that. Like I'm a one-man show right now. And so if I could just throw somebody a couple dollars and say, hey, create this for me, it would be so much easier. And I'm currently looking even to hire people for marketing as well.
Can I jump in there for a second?
Sure.
Okay, so I thank you for the compliment, by the way, Amanda. I do have a smart mentor. However, when it came to my LinkedIn, my social media, any of my social media and my website, I literally watched a YouTube video on how to, and I did it at work. Like I had it playing in my earbud and I was listening to the YouTube video, and I can put it in the group for you. You can just literally listen to it while you're doing whatever you need to do. And then you can go back in and tweak your LinkedIn. It literally just needs to be, I think I made the mistake of paying someone to do something, and then I had to turn around and basically redo it all over again anyway. So when you, it's more personal when you do it yourself. Because you can tell them, like I literally told them exactly what I wanted, what it needed to say, stuff, everything. Then I had to turn around and edit it myself all over again. So to save yourself the money, just do it. Then you don't have to do it twice.
Yeah,
if
that makes sense.
Thank you, Sienna. And it will give you the opportunity to get familiar with the platform as well. And you know, you don't have to necessarily, once you go create the account, you don't have to finish it up right now. Maybe you put a time frame of like within the next 2 weeks, slowly I'm gonna be developing the page and looking at some of the competitors to see what do they have, what are they involved in, you know, things like that. But yeah, I encourage you to look at LinkedIn and create your page there.
Right, and I agree with both Amanda and Siona. You want to create your own page. I know that we're all busy, but even an hour. To be honest, I created my own website over a weekend. So it's kind of where you put your time, and it allows you to really personalize it. I've seen many people have the same experience Siona mentioned, from marketing, where they paid thousands of dollars, didn't get what they thought they were going to get, through websites, paid thousands of dollars, didn't get what they thought they were going to get. And a lot of that is people don't understand how the industry works, you know? And it's when I think about it, because we initially paid somebody to do our website and then I did it the second go around. But it's having to communicate with someone how healthcare staffing works with people who aren't involved in the industry and have them visualize it in the way that you want it to. It's very complicated. And a lot of times people only see the corporate side of healthcare. So that's usually what you'll get from an imagery standpoint of view. And the amount of time, to be honest, that you have to go back and forth with a creator to correct things, you could very easily have done it yourself. And I've used YouTube. I love YouTube. You know, I'm on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, you're on YouTube. But YouTube is also a great platform where they really have 5, 10, 15-minute people where that's what they do. They say, hey, you need to do that. YouTube helped me with kind of finagling through the group when I first got started. So it's a great, easy resource that you can access if you have a couple of hours, your lunch break over a couple of weeks. But I would definitely invest in doing it yourself. Amber.
I'm just going to piggyback on that, Ms. Shanika. I'm going actually through the same experience. I paid somebody for my website, and I'm having to go back and forth, change this here and change that there and this, and they have no idea. They just build a shell, and there's a lot of things that I go back and forth. I agree with you. It's a lot of time consuming. It's exhausting, I must say, because they don't know how the business works. So
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Well, I know that we went 22 minutes over. I think it was a great topic of discussion. Again, this is, I bleed sales and marketing. This is my whole career. And so if you get me going about anything business development, you're gonna pay me to basically say, okay, man, enough is enough. Like, like we got it. But no, thank you so much for attending. I know that Shamika will repost the video. We did record all of this information. And if you think of any, if you have any questions regarding sales and marketing, I'm always willing to schedule a brief call to learn a little bit more about what, you know, your goals are and get to know you a little bit more as well. But thank you so much for attending, and I look forward to our next session, hopefully soon.
Thank you, Amanda. So this is the last session. If you haven't checked it out, all Amanda's videos are in the group. You might have to search in the group to find it because there's not like a video section as well. I'll be hosting some stuff this week. So check out the events tab, as well as probably in the next week, I'll be hosting an event with Thrive, who is also one of the CRMs. For those who might be interested in getting a better understanding of it, because even though I did laugh, I do agree with Amanda that we should not be using Excel spreadsheets to obtain customers. And, you know, this would be a great opportunity for those who may not have an understanding of CRMs and how it can help you with your business to get a little bit more information. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Hope you have the rest of a good week.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.